What is up, everybody? Happy Friday, everybody's favorite day of the week. Why? Not because it's the end of the work week, no, because you get to come here again for what, 35th, 36th week in a row? Well, minus a couple in there with the bye weeks, but yeah, 35, 36 weeks of these. Thank you all for watching so far, by the way. Yeah, it is Charlotte for the week time. Little different this week. We'll call it the Charlotte for the speed week, right? It's going to be a little bit quicker, right? Obviously, you don't see Brian and Amy kind of solo today. Just a lot of scheduling things going on, but you guys don't care about that. You care about what happened in the game this past week. We all do. Obviously, Charlotte probably live under a rock if you hadn't already heard. Charlotte lose 1-0 to NYCFC. Obviously, I'll kind of get into that in a second, but since it was just me this week, I did want to kind of change things up for you guys a little bit as far as the format. We're into the playoffs. We don't need all of the other, crap that I usually talk about. It's just about these games right here and these games only for the most part. So, versus me just kind of ranting about what I thought happened in the game itself. Again, we lose 1-0. I figured we could turn it over to you guys, right? Maybe do a little bit of Charlotte for the week hotline, right? So first and maybe it comes back again. Maybe this is a very popular segment. We'll see. But it is Charlotte for the week hotline. We are going to be taking phone calls from you guys just to kind of either rant about what you thought happened in the game or maybe rant about game 3. I don't know yet, or game 2 rather. I'm already on game 3 mentality. I'll get into that in a little bit. But again, hotline time, Charlotte for the week. We'll have Minty sponsor, as he does most of ours. Sir Minty here will sponsor the Charlotte for the week hotline. Easy for me to say. Gabby, go ahead and get our first caller on the line if you can. Let's see what he has to say. Looks like it's Brian from Charlotte. So, Brian, what do you got?
I want to share a couple of my rants from Game 1 of our playoff series with NYCFC. My first rant goes to none other than DP player Liel Abada. How about Liel Abada do nothing because you didn't do anything? Actually, you did do something. You gave the ball away cheaply on our goal that NYCFC scored. You seem disinterested. It's time to go. Looks like you're ready to go as well. And while we're talking about the goal, our defense was atrocious on that play. How do you let a player dribble from 40 yards out past 4 or 5 of our guys and not put a body on him and get an open shot against Kalina? My next rant goes to Jabril Diani. I think we get 2 versions of Diani. Regular season Diani and playoff version. And playoff version was bad. He gave up our goal. He gave up a penalty against Orlando last year that knocked us out of the playoffs. And this year he played so poorly in this first game, he kept giving the ball up over and over and over again. Finally, my last rant goes to none other than our manager, Dean Smith. Love you, Dean, but I heard your presser today, and you were complaining about the game being on a Tuesday, and I get it. It's not a normal night, but it's your responsibility as the manager to get the players ready for the game. The crowd.
Okay, yeah, that was Brian from Charlotte. Very good, interesting takes by Brian. Seems like he knows what he's talking about. Maybe have him on the show sometime. I don't know. But yeah, Brian, I couldn't agree more with pretty much everything you said. Love the Abada Dome or whatever that was. That was hilarious. But yeah, obviously, again, Charlotte 0, NYCFC 1. Goal scored obviously kind of later in the first half. Yeah, it really did kind of come down to 2 players for me that were on the field. I thought that the fans showed up. They were there. We were ready. Maybe not as many as they would have hoped, but it was a Tuesday rainy night. Everybody that I was with was there, ready, locked in, ready to run through a wall for the team. So I thought that the fans were certainly ready. We've been waiting on this literally all season long. And it seemed like to me when the team took the field, they were a little bit timid. But really, I want to just point out the 2 players that he mentioned in the voicemail there. I mean, Abada was the worst player on the field. There's no doubt about it, right? He was way too timid. I mean, there were multiple times where he got the ball in space. We're talking 10, 15 yards. and just putting his foot on the ball, looking back, and literally passing it back on the goal, like he said. I mean, there was a breakaway, kind of a 3v3 going our way, to go score, and then he gets the ball and turns it right back the other way. And while that wasn't the direct what led to the goal, it certainly was a very big factor in the goal. And he was the first player subbed off, rightfully so. He didn't do anything that would have inspired confidence that he could have turned it around. And if you guys remember last week, I said he was going to be the key to the game. He was going to be, it needed to be an Abada game. He was the one playing in place of our star, Wilfred Zaha, and we needed him to step up. He's our most expensive player, yet we got what we got on the field. So, as far as Abada goes, I think that was his last chance. I can't imagine that they bring him back next year after what we just saw. I mean, we're going to lose money on him selling him, but sometimes that's good business. Sometimes it just needs to be done. He clearly doesn't have it, right? And maybe he gets to another team, different mindset, and it clicks back. I don't know, but he is so far removed right now. I mean, I would have taken anybody. A 17-year-old off of Charlotte Independence, for goodness sake, would have been better. Abada just did not have it, and the same with Gianni, right? Gianni in the middle there, he needed to have a big game just controlling, and he's been really good replacing Biel. Since Biel's injury, I think he's played well, played composed on the ball, made the right passes, been aggressive, and we didn't see any of that. More in the first half. I will have to give him a little credit. Second half, he got a little bit better, just as the team did. But we needed him there in the first half, and he damn near cost us the first goal, or a goal prior to their first goal, rather, where he just had a lazy turnover right there, near the defensive third, and they had a shot that hit the crossbar. That was kind of the first warning sign, and our midfield was seemingly getting ran over all night, and he was the lead reason why. Just he's never been the fleetest of foot, though he did have one very big sprint I got excited about. I think that was the highlight of the night for him. But overall, both of those players, Gianni and Abada, were not good. They were the worst two players on the field for Charlotte, in my estimation. And of course, the one common denominator from that, well, they're both playing in place of our star players, right? Obviously, Gianni in place of Pep Biel. Obviously, Abada in place of Zaha in this particular game. Yeah, I hate to make excuses, and this isn't me making an excuse for the team. Everybody collectively could have picked it up, but I really did feel like those were the weak spots on the field. Had we had the normal, starting 11 out there that we would have hoped to have going into the playoffs, I think it would have been much different. That being said, they weren't out there. You play with who you have, and you get the result that you got, right? So it was a Charlotte 1-0 defeat. Obviously, that puts them right up against the brink of elimination, right? They do have to come back and win two straight. Hey, but that's the plan, right? I'll get into that more here in a little bit in the video. I did want to also address that second piece that he had mentioned with Dino, or really third piece with Dino in that press conference. Dean did not seem happy about it being on a Tuesday night, a rainy Tuesday night. Wasn't super happy with the fan engagement. Which I can understand, I guess, to a certain degree. But I agree with Brian. He seems like a smart guy. There's no reason to say that, I mean, because everybody that was there, me included, and all the rest of those fans, were there. We were locked in. We were, cheering as loud as we could, ready to run through a wall for that team. Like I said, I was as excited as I've been for a game all season. And again, I'm not saying that 22, 23,000 being there is enough, but there wasn't much we can do about that. And at the end of the day, it's not really your job to worry about the crowd, in the stands. We're going to do what we can do to support you, because we do 100%. But it's your job to get those players ready. And again, it just seemed like they came out very timid, very, I don't want to make a mistake, versus I want to go win this game for this team, right? And so to me, that is a little bit on Dean as well. His calling card coming over from Aston Villa in the Premier League was that, Villa was always kind of a mid-table, mid-tiered team. Yet when it came to playoffs, or they do cups over there, more tournament style is what you would call it, right? He always had Villa ready for them. They always made deep runs in like the FA Cup. And so you would have thought he would have brought some of that energy over here in those kind of win or go home scenarios. And so far, we just haven't really seen it, right? I mean, We fell flat on our face in the Leagues Cup earlier this season. Same with the U.S. Open. We struggled to get through a round, but lost ultimately to DC United, who finished, I think, bottom of the table entirely this season. So he hasn't had a very good run of tournaments so far in his tenure over at Charlotte. We do love him, right? We think what he's building has been good, sustainable, but we do have to see it in the playoffs as well, Dino, or in this cup style, tournament style, win or go home mentality. It seems like we've been way too timid in all of these games. It's like we have to get punched in the mouth first versus vice versa. Got to turn that around, Dean, and we need to turn it around fast, or we will be the ones going home. So, good call there, Brian. Very good call. Good insight. I kind of agreed with all of it. I wish I would have been able to pick something else apart, but it overall, I kind of agreed with everything. Abada, Gianni, got to be better. Well, Abada's just got to be out.
Finally!
Right. I don't see a scenario in which he plays the rest of this season, nor probably another game for Charlotte. Maybe that's a little bit brash, but that's kind of the way I'm feeling about it. Gianni's going to have to play, and Gianni's going to have to play much better, is what we'll get to here in a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of my take on those as well. Again, good call, Brian. Okay, and before we take another call, I did want to do a little bit of housekeeping in terms of just normal format, Charlotte for the week. Um, we do have some news, potential news. It's not actual news. It's kind of back to the rumor mill. Obviously, the off season is coming, hopefully later than sooner. Hopefully much later than sooner, but it's still getting around that time where you start to hear those rumors come back around about new players, and we have one for Charlotte, and it's a big one. So David Alaba, it appears we have submitted a formal submission for him to come to Charlotte FC. If you're not familiar with David Alaba, uh, probably no more than 5-6 years ago was probably considered the greatest center back in the world. That's the kind of quality he is. Now, he is older now, 33 years old, but he still plays for Real Madrid. Talk about a pipeline that we could get familiar with, coming Real Madrid Charlotte pipeline. Not bad. So that would obviously be somewhat the Melanda replacement. We know obviously he's leaving at the end of the season to go to Middlesbrough. You get a player like David Alaba in here, that's a pretty dang good replacement, I would have to say. You do worry a little bit about his age. He's 33, got some injury history at this point, which is, kind of what's led him to, come look, I guess, explore the MLS. But at the same time, there is no doubt about that quality. I can already imagine the passes him and Tim Ream can pull off back there at the back line. We will be a deep ball machine with those two, man, in the back line for sure. Oddly enough, the other team that is kind of rumored to be talking to him is NYCFC. So,
No.
so hopefully this is, well, maybe it is like a play and whoever wins gets some type deal. So that means we certainly need to win these next two games so that we can claim rights to him. Not sure exactly if that's how it works, but nonetheless, definitely a significant name to keep on the radar because it seems far enough in that we've already submitted some sort of bid for him. Now, whether he accepts it, whether Real Madrid accepts it, whether all of this ends up coming out and being true, again, long way to go for that, but definitely a rumor worth mentioning. Again, David Alaba to Charlotte FC, maybe, maybe. And then other news, just really the other game ones that have happened within the MLS playoffs so far. I'm just going to run through all the scores real quick. So Miami did win 3-1 over Nashville in their game one. Not a real big surprise there. Maybe the best game of the entire opening round, Philadelphia 2, Chicago 2. And then Philadelphia ends up winning it in PKs. Chicago tied that game on like the last kick of the entire game. Beautiful, scorching 30-yard, just strike to the bottom right corner to tie it up. Very dramatic. I was pulling for Chicago in that game because that's the round. That's the matchup that Charlotte will be playing against next round, assuming we can move forward. So it was either going to be a home game against Chicago or a road game in Philly. I'd rather them come play at the bank. So, but didn't end up that way. Philadelphia did go ahead and prevail in PKs, so they are up 1-0 in their draw as well. Vancouver, remember they lost the last game of the year to Dallas to let Dallas into the playoffs. Maybe they did that on purpose because then they went and spanked Dallas in the first game of the playoff 3-0. Must have just knew something and wanted to be able to play them, so they got that seed and spanked Dallas 3-0. San Diego obviously win the West and win game one at home 2-1 over Portland. Uh, Pretty good game here. Cincinnati, well, hell is real rivalry. I mean, in the playoffs, you don't really see that too often. Cincinnati did take the first game 1-0 over Columbus. Second game after that, the night game, was Minnesota-Seattle. That was a 0-0 draw that Minnesota ended up winning in PKs. Actually, kind of crazy PK scenario where it was three straight PKs. One went off the crossbar. The next one went off the right post, and then the next one went off the left post. There were three straight PK misses in that. In any case, Minnesota prevailed 0-0. And then the final game was LAFC 2, Austin 1. So pretty much, let me go back through here, make sure I didn't mess this. Yeah, Charlotte's the only home team that did not win in the first game one of the playoffs. That's not something we like to say, but facts are facts. It is what it is. So, yeah, every other home team won. Charlotte's the only one that lost. Maybe we reverse that trend going on the road this week. Maybe we're the only road team that wins and all the home teams lose. Who knows? Or vice versa, whatever I said. But yeah, that's how the other games went. Gabby, let's get some more people back on the phone and let's maybe talk about. Do we have any callers that mention game two? Because hey, we got a flush game one. We're on to game two. Anybody got anything for game two, Gabby?
What's up, everybody? The second game of our first round playoff series is this coming Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Weird start time, but also in a weird stadium. Yes, we're back playing NYCFC on a baseball field. Not thrilled about that, but no excuses. We got to win or we're done. Last time we played NYCFC, they beat us 2-0 at Yankee Stadium. We gave up 2 penalty kick goals. Zaha also drew a penalty kick and missed it. But that's not going to happen this time. I'm expecting a big game from Zaha. He's back from red card suspension. And there's a few keys to this match. We cannot give up a goal early. That first goal is critical. So we gotta score first, because we know if they score first, they're going to pack it in, and we have a hard time beating that low block. Secondly, we got to beat the press. We got to be tidy on the ball, because if we lose the ball in the midfield, it's not very far, because that small pitch that they're going to be in our defensive third shooting at Kalina. And then finally, big players have got to make big plays. I'm expecting a Malanda goal this week. He doesn't want to go out losing like he did at Bank of America Stadium, so he's going to score on a penalty kick. We're also going to get a goal from Zaha, and we're going to get one from Toklamati. I'm expecting a 3-1 win, and we're coming back to Bank of America Stadium on Friday, November the 7th. That place is going to be rocking. You need to be there for the crown, for the week.
And when you know, Brian from Charlotte again. Got a lot to say on the hotline. I like that, though. Hey, keep calling in, Brian. We're going to continue to answer your questions. If anybody else would like to call in as well, just let me know. I'll get the number down at the bottom of the screen. You guys can call in later. But Brian from Charlotte, as he so eloquently put, are playing against Saturday, this coming Saturday, so tomorrow, if you guys are all watching, right? 3:30, so middle of the afternoon game in a baseball stadium, as he said, right? So the aesthetics of it aren't beautiful, but that's MLS for you, right? They're never going to be the most picturesque what you see over in England or any of the European countries, right? This is the MLS, right? This is why we love it. We're rugged, right? We were going to play 3:30 on a Saturday afternoon when there's a lot of college football going on, and we're in a baseball stadium, and doesn't matter, right? This is all that matters, is this game, right? If we do not win this game, the season is over. These 34 games that we played before it, the U.S. Open, the Leagues Cup, all of that stuff, doesn't matter, right? Season is done. We don't want that. This team is too good. This team is too talented. This team is too fun. I have too much fun doing these things for you guys for this to just be it, right? I can't have next week's be the end and there it goes, right? So for all of us, Charlotte, we need that victory on Tuesday or on Saturday afternoon. As far as some of the points, I think Brian did make some good points on there as well, right? I think yeah, I mean, we obviously have to be very pragmatic. We had mistake free, right? Too many mistakes from people like Gianni, people like Abada in the last game that really kind of forced our hand and turned it over. When you stall the second half, I was even kind of calling it out on the field in game one. Like I would just say, hey, good, neutral, good, neutral, good, neutral. Neutral's not bad against NYCFC. They're not going to be the team that goes and picks you apart when you're just making neutral plays. They're the team that's going to pick you apart when you're making bad plays, when you're turning the ball over, right? They're going to feed on that, and it's even going to be tenfold when they're at home in that small stadium. So just making neutral passes is good. You can't do that the whole game, right? Eventually, we're going to have to go make a play. We're going to have to go, be aggressive and take some chances, but calculated chances are good, right? There's nothing wrong with being I don't know what the word would be, but mathematically aggressive, right? The long balls early, I thought were working. They weren't connecting late. I don't know if it was just a tired legs thing or the wind was blowing quite a bit, so maybe it was just the wind factor. But I thought the best form of attack that we had against NYCFC on Tuesday night were the long balls. Toklamati seemed to be able to handle his defender pretty well. Drew a yellow card. I think drew two different yellow cards on two different defenders, and both were direct results of just long balls where he can kind of body the guy and outskill him. Well, we're going to have that on the field for sure, but then we're also going to have another dynamic. We've already mentioned it once, but maybe twice, maybe three times, but we won't have Abada, the worst player that was on the field last game. We will have Zaha, who is the best player in this match. There is not a better player on the field, in these 22 than Wilfred Zaha, and he needs to go prove it, right? I mean, so if last game was the Abada game and he flopped, this has got to be the Zaha game, and he's got to star. And I really, truly think he will. I wore his jersey just so you guys, if had any doubt, right? No doubt from Zaha. He's got to take that negative energy that everybody's kind of feeding them right now with the red card from the game before and just fuel that into this game right here. Um, they've got to feed him consistently, right? Get him and Tofolo on that left side involved. I don't think NYCFC has an answer for that as long as we can get that established, get that going. And again, really just come out on the right foot. Obviously, I don't think it would be ideal to give up the first goal in a game like this. Brian did kind of hit that on, nail on the head, but to me, it's just it doesn't matter, right? That's got to be more the mentality for this game. You can't worry, well, if this happens, then this needs to happen. This is a it doesn't effing matter type game, right? This is game two. You have to win it. If you do give up a goal early, guess what? It doesn't matter. You got to score again, right? You got to come again, right? You got to be the one to score next. If you don't score next, well, then you got to figure out how to score too. It doesn't matter. It's on to the next play. Nothing matters but this game on Tuesday or on Saturday, right? So that's really got to be the mentality for the guys. I think we have the talent. I know we have the talent that can go and beat a team like NYCFC on the road. There's no doubt about it. But they have to want to. They have to come out much stronger, much more aggressive. Again, calculated with that aggression, right? You can't just be making 30-yard sideways passes, right? Make the right plays there. But as long as they're aggressive, as long as they have that mentality, and as long as Zaha shows up with the fuel that I feel like he's going to, we're going to win this game. All we were saying as we were leaving the stadium, my good friend in section 233, shout out Bill. Obviously, we were all pretty upset with the loss and feeling a little bit down. But Bill looked at us all. He smiled and he said, "Game three. See you guys. Game three." And that's right. That's what we want to see. Game three is going to be next Friday, November the 7th, I think is what we said. It's a Friday night. It's a game three. That's the stuff we live for. That's what we want to see. And that's my mentality right now. Screw game two. Don't screw it. We got to go win it. But we're past that. We know we're going to win game two. I'll see you guys all back at the bank for game three on Friday night. That's kind of my mentality. That's what should be our mentality. And let's just go take it to this team on Saturday. Um, that's all we have for the show today, for this week, rather. Again, I appreciate you all watching, liking, subscribing if you hadn't already. And again, we're going to do this thing next week. And next week, oh, it's going to be game time. So we're ready to see it. Again, love you all for the crown.